been an up and down season for the Chicago Bulls, but we are going to be looking at the optimism that we should have as fans for the Chicago Bulls moving forward. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today, we are looking at the bright spots around the Chicago Bulls. Don't get me wrong, it has been a challenging season with the Chicago Bulls being 24-37, but I do think that there are some things that the Chicago Bulls are currently doing right now that will help them as far as gaining an identity. And also, too, there are some players that I think really we can look forward to seeing just for the rest of this season, and also, too, hopefully building into next season. And so before we go ahead and jump into that, wanted to remind you that 72.4% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you go ahead, you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so I want to start off by looking at the players that certainly I think are going to be some bright spots that we are looking forward to seeing down the last course of this season. And really, we're hoping that with their performances that they can really build upon these and move into next season. And so let's start with the first player that I absolutely think is a bright spot and something that we're looking forward to seeing here down the stretch, and that is going to be more of Modest Buzelis. Look, I think that Modest Buzelis has done a terrific job, and what I love right now is that Modest Buzelis does not look like he's hitting the rookie wall, because look, over his last 10 games, he's averaging 12.3 points a game, 3.8 rebounds a game, 2.3 assists, 0.8 in the blocks, 0.5 in steals, and his free throw percentage is at 81%. He's also shooting 44.8% from the field. So let's start with just the defense with Modest Buzelis and those 0.8 blocks, because right now he currently leads the Chicago Bulls in block shots. And what I love most about his block shots is that it just really shows us that this guy is going to become, I think, a very good defender, because as he gets stronger, I think it's going to be tougher for the offensive player to get to their spots. I think that it's going to be tough to just really bully Modest Buzelis. I think that is going to be even tougher once he gets stronger. And then I can just see that, look, he is showing us that he can definitely be a player that we can maybe count on as far as rim protection. And as much as we love offense, look, defense is where I think a lot of championship teams are built. And I think that that's where a lot of good teams really are built. And it starts with the foundation defensively. And I think we have something with Modest Buzelis. And I think it's been really an added bonus when you look at Modest Buzelis and what he's been able to do as far as blocking shots. In fact, this is, a clip here from this last game. You just get a chance to see the athleticism from Modest Buzelis right there blocking the shot. And man, you can just imagine that as he continues to get stronger and better as a defender, he's really going to take off there. And then offensively, what I love most about Modest Buzelis is he's taking advantage of the minutes that he is getting right now, because look, he shot the basketball 16 times in this game against the Pacers. This last game, he was 8 of 16 there, but it's the way that he's doing it. He's not just standing behind the three-point line. He's getting out in the fast break. He's cutting, he's, also too making himself available for lobs and things like that from Josh Giddey. And so that has been something that has been great to see. You see that he's been very connected there with his lead point guard as well. And so, look, Modest Buzelis showing us that, look, his offensive bag is deep. And even though he's struggling right now from the three-point line at 25%, currently, I think, just on the season, he's shooting 33%. And like I said before, his shooting form, it looks good. It doesn't look broke. I think that that's going to get even better as he continues to put in the work. And so he's definitely a bright spot that we're looking forward to seeing. I'm not saying that he's a franchise player, but I certainly think that Modest Buzelis is absolutely going to be a part of the Chicago Bulls turning this thing around. I think he's going to be responsible for helping this team win a lot of games, and just how good he gets, I guess we're going to find out, but we're definitely looking forward to seeing him. He's definitely a bright spot for us. And so next up, another player that is a bright spot, I think, moving forward, and somebody we want to see some more of, and just seeing how he can finish out the season, and that is going to be Josh Giddey. I think that Josh Giddey has done a terrific job as far as just taking over after Zach LaVine is left with that leadership role. He's averaging 19.2, 8.3 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 1.2 blocks, 1.1 steals, and shooting 53.2 from 3 and 48.5% from the field. Now, this is over his last 10 games, but look, I love how Josh Giddey has been a lot more aggressive, and I liked what I saw in this last game from him because the shot wasn't necessarily falling, but he got to the free throw line 11 times, converting 8 of those. And so I want to see what happens, as he continues to get into games and the shot is not falling. Does he continue to be aggressive like that and getting to the free throw line? I think that would show really just more of a true sign of growth. Defensively, he's gotten a lot better with his effort levels, talking about the fact that he is averaging a block or 1.2 blocks over this last 10, and then also 1.1 steals. So the activity defensively has been there. And then, with the assists that he's getting at the 8.3 or 6.6 assists, the assists that he's getting, I think that they have been, just really helping other players kind of just feel more comfortable throughout the game. I think that he's done a great job as far as making sure that others have gotten involved before he starts to go to work. And so that is good to see. You want to see that out of your point guard, a guy that can get others started and then he can turn it on late. I think that there's been a couple games where he is really starting to pick it up in the second half of games, and that has kind of helped us. And so, look, I think that he's playing with a great pace. And I think that this is good to see because, look, the Chicago Bulls have a decision. He's going to be in restricted free agency. And right now he continues to be trending up, and he continues to show you that, look, he can be certainly a player that you can certainly build with. And so you're seeing that he's doing a great job working with Zac Collins, with Buzelis, and just really everybody else on the team. I know it's been a little bit of a challenge for Coby White in a new role, but still, I think that there is a chance that these guys can figure it out over the last stretch of the season, and so hopefully they do. But again, I think that Josh Giddey is certainly a player that you would get excited about if this team continues to build correctly, and so got to give him his credit. And so next up, wanted to move on to another player that I think certainly has been a bright spot for the Chicago Bulls, and somebody that actually gives us a little bit more front court, stability, or just really more of a direction now, and that's going to be Zac Collins. I think that Zac Collins gives us more of a direction now because if the Chicago Bulls are moving off of Vooch, which I would think that they are, but who knows, if they do, you have a big man that you can move forward with next season along with Jalen Smith, and he's not going to get in the way of a front court player that you would draft, and hopefully the Chicago Bulls do that. He also addresses a need for this team, which is they've needed to get bigger, they've needed to get some physicality, they need to get a player that can play some mobile defense at the center position, and he gives you all of those things. And oh, by the way, he's playing very well, with your point guard that you're probably expected to bring back in Josh Giddey. I think that there is certainly a connection that has been there since he's been in the starting lineup. And over his last 10, he's averaging 12.3 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 2.7 assists, and he's shooting 53.6% from the field. And he's doing that on 25.7 minutes a game. And so, that is pretty significant, considering that that's the second most minutes that he's played really in his career on a team, because I'm looking back at the Portland Trail Blazers, and I think it was year 4, he was averaging 26.4 minutes a game, and that was 2019-2020. I know it's a small sample size here with the Chicago Bulls, but he is showing you that, look, if you have to move on from Vooch and pivot there, he's on a 1-year contract. He certainly fits with the things that you want to do as far as style of play, and he's not going to get in the way, I think, of you drafting another front court player. And we need front court players because we have a ton of guards on this roster. And so I think that Zac Collins, with what he is bringing, he's been a bright spot for this team. And so next up, I want to talk now just as a team and some of the things that I think we should definitely be, excited about as far as just trying to get an identity, a style of play. And so I want to start with something that you really can't put, I think, numbers on, but I think that just the effort level has been there. I definitely think that you can definitely see, the real fight for this team over the last, so many games or so. And that has been impressive to see that this team is actually battling out there. I mean, even in the losses, the 113 to 111 loss to the Knicks, I think you see that. The 121 to 117 loss against the Suns, the 122 to 117 loss against the Clippers. Even in the wins against the Raptors and then also to the Sixers, like you could see that the effort level is there. And even with this last loss against the Pacers, look, it took a career high from Aaron Naismith to score 27 points, Pascal Siakam to score 20, and Tyrese Halliburton had a double-double with 17 points and 12 assists. Like, those were some great players, some great performances, and they really, look, the Bulls were right there, but they just put the Bulls away, and it wasn't because of the effort level. And so that is number one. I think that is something that absolutely translates. But then when you look at the style of play, I think that that's something that we should be, optimistic about, because I think this team is trying to get an identity offensively. Because right now they are second in three-point attempts, and so they've stayed true to form here. They've wanted to play this style of play since training camp and talking about that. And so you got to give them credit for going out there and executing that. And that's after the trades and everything. They're still playing like that. And then with the three-point percentages, look, they're 10th in the NBA right now, according to NBA.com, at 36.8%. And so that is good that you're still, within the top 10. Has it worked out well for us all the time? No, but at least we see that there's an identity. And talking about that effort level, look, they're also showing that offensively they're willing to cut a little bit more now. So I think that the player movement and the ball movement has gotten a lot better over the last couple games. And maybe that's something that continues to stick, because I think that as this team understands that you can also get baskets that way and a lot easier, then I think you're going to start to see this team start to take off as far as an identity standpoint offensively. And defensively, look, I know that they're not the best, but they're starting to try to show some signs, especially when it comes down to rebounding the basketball, which I think definitely ties into defense. Currently, right now, they are sixth in the NBA with total rebounds behind Houston, Memphis, Denver, Detroit, and Golden State. And I think that your defense ties into your rebounds tie into your defense, because what happens here is that, as teams, you take away those second chance opportunities by getting rebounds. Certainly you're taking away their opportunities to score more. And then offensively, when you're getting more rebounds than them, you're giving yourself added chances to score more baskets. And so just by the numbers, you're giving yourself more opportunities. You're giving them, far lesser. And so that's something that you want to see from your team. You want to erase those things. And so as we get better, with the front court, the players, the personnel defensively, and we just incorporate those principles, rebounding the basketball, knocking down these three-point shots, more player movement, I think that you start to see this team finally get to an identity. And so hopefully we see some more of that down the stretch, and hopefully these are things that they can build upon as this season comes to a close. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking here, because like I said, I think that there were several different things that we can really take and look at and say, look, hey, there's some optimism here. And even the players that, look, they haven't really taken off, like a Dalen, Terry, and Julian Phillips. I think that they've still actually shown us some flashes in kind of what they can do out there. Especially when you look here, Julian Phillips with the athleticism right there. These are things that, like, we're seeing it. They just haven't been able to put it together all in this season. But still, I think that these are some things that certainly we can look at and see some real optimism with. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking here about the Chicago Bulls. Do you have some optimism as this season comes to an end? And as we always say, go Bulls. And I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.